Ride closures or temporary closures, whichever way you want to look at them, are going to be a big thing in 2025. And they, I think, are going to be a big thing across the theme park estate in the UK. Now, there is no doubt about the fact that it's not just ride closures where parks are going to be cutting their cloth. We'll first look at Merlin Entertainments, who obviously haven't announced, but sort of have announced at the same time that a lot of their entertainments are being pulled for 2025. We've seen a lot of people post online, and our heart goes out to them. It's not nice losing your job. I've been there and really wish them all the best. That some of the entertainment staff have been pulled, particularly seen from Legoland, where they have pirate show, puppet shows, and things, which seem like they may not be returning for 2025. On top of that, although Merlin have now announced their new CEO for the group, we also have seen that rides will remain closed at certain parks or have closed at certain parks. We've spoken about Chessington World of Adventures. In terms of Wild Asia, looks like that will be closed. We've seen the removal of Scorpion Express also at Chessington. And then we looked at Alton Towers and we see the removal of Blade, but of course the introduction of Toxicator. Legoland at the same time have been a bit hit and miss in terms of ride closures, and of course Viking River Splash still sits there now gathering dust, with Thorpe Park removing Slammer over the closed season. Although it hasn't been open for a long time, they have now removed that. Now, I think when it comes to Merlin myself, I've seen quite a lot of people online saying the parks are expensive, which is why they don't go. I'm going to strongly disagree with that straight off the bat. I think our parks in the UK generally are very well priced for a day out when you look around the world. And again, maybe Legoland would be a highlight of one in the Merlin estate that's quite expensive to visit. But when you can get to Thorpe Park, Alton Towers, and Chessington for around £35 in the summer, if you look around, I think is a great value day out if you plan your day. And if you can get that as well, which you can on off-peak days, you'll cover everything at any of the parks on an off-peak day. For me, where Merlin go wrong is the food. I think the food is not of good quality and is really, really expensive. You look at the general meals at Chessington, Legoland, Alton Towers, you're looking £20+. Ignore if you've got an annual pass, because 20% off is nice. You've got to take it at face value. £20+ for a meal when you've got a family of four and you might want dessert as well. You're looking £100 to eat at a theme park, which is insane. It is absolutely insane. You can get meals at Drayton Manor for £9.95. You can get them at Blackpool for about the same price. They're about the same price at Portons Park, which I have to say I think has the best food in the country. Merlin really priced themselves out on here. And we used to eat, when I took the boys as a free, we used to eat at the park. We used to be able to get an £8.99 meal, which with our annual pass discount to go down to what, £7.50. And I would buy free meals every single time we went to the park to save cooking when we got home. And I wouldn't necessarily say it's the crisis now that I wouldn't do that. I just can't justify £50+ to do so. So for me, that's where Merlin goes wrong. Now, we've seen other closures around as well. You look at like Water Valley, who of course removed Eagle's Claw this year, and that's literally because it's just too expensive to refurbish and get back up and running. And as the parks open, we will see other rides that aren't opening or need big refurbishment, and of course are being removed without us knowing. Now, the only thing I will say is I see a lot of backlash online, saying about this, and particularly saying about we want our last rides. Why haven't they told us? Why haven't they told us? If you follow the channel and you've seen us go down to Funland in Hayling Island, it's a great example. Sometimes you've got all the best intentions in the world. That ride finishes its season and you're like, brilliant season. You take the ride apart for its winter maintenance and you notice something is wrong with it or something could be going wrong with it. And at that point, you then sometimes have to make a really difficult decision. That decision isn't based on whether or not someone 50 miles away wants their last ride on it. That decision is based on the fact of A, should we refurbish it for the money? B, can we actually get it open for that one ride? Or, C, is it actually worth it? And that's what people need to look at. I don't think it's done on purpose. I'd have loved the last ride. To be fair, I got my last rides at Chesney, but I'd love the last ride, particularly on Wild Mouse at Blackpool. That was one that I would love the last ride on. But of course, it's got to the end of the season. They've done their winter maintenance. They've realised that actually they can't open it in the condition it's in without spending some money, and the money just isn't financially worth doing. So I 100% get it. And it's expensive. It is expensive at the moment in a theme park. And again, I'll take Hayling into account because they let me in to kind of see what they're doing. It's very expensive for what you may consider to be the most simple things. And they don't have B&Ms or Intamins or anything like that, where they're trying to buy wheels and spare parts and everything like that for. And it's still really, really expensive. Now, I know what you might say, these parks have visitors and everything like that. They still have to pay staff. We are in a quite unique situation at the moment where everything is really, really expensive, and the parks aren't exempt from this. And I don't think any park particularly goes out to give a bad day. Do I think some of them can give a better experience? Yes, I do. I'm not going to say who, but I think some of them can give a better experience. But that doesn't necessarily mean they go bad experience. When Merlin get the absolute hammering from this, this is a park I can guarantee I can rock up to Chesington, Alton Towers, a Fort Park, and everything will be on capacity. I know even though the park's busy, on a busy day, everything will be on capacity. They've got all their trains on, they've got staff there, they're operating. 9 times out of 10, they're trying to load it as quickly as they can. I know they're trying to do that. And a lot of small parks are really good at doing it as well. Portons Park is really good at doing that. And Drayton Manor actually is really good at doing that as well. Some aren't, again, when it comes down to value for money, but generally they're doing everything they can. So I just ask people, take a step back and ask what you would do. The next thing people come up to me with is Universal will change everything. Well, it won't. It won't change anything. And I'll tell you why it won't change anything as well, because you have Universal and Disney in America, and you have Cedar Fair, Six Flags, I know it's now combined, operating differently, that don't operate anything like Disney or Universal. And there's a reason for this. And Universal is stunning theming, everything's immersive, and your entry ticket's £110 to £150. You've got Disney, stunning, immersive, your entry ticket is £100 to £200. And that's the massive difference. You're not paying £35 to get into a theme park. We really praise parks here in the UK when we get a theme. But again, how much value does the theme add to Fort Park, for instance? I want to see theme rides at every park I go to. No doubt about it, I want to. But you open Hyperia with no theme, does no one visit? No, they still visit for Hyperia. So you kind of got to look at it as well. And this is where it comes to some of the entertainment too. I could argue that some of the entertainment can be missed off. Whether it should be is up for discussion, but it can be missed off. It's not going to be a draw for people to get in. We all know that Halloween makes money, and we all know that Christmas makes money, so it makes sense to put the money into those rather than something like Explorers spending loads of money on scenery that, quite frankly, no one really cares about. I don't know. Universal won't change anything. They operate very, very differently. Your annual school groups, which go and completely flood all our Merlin parks and other parks, in fairness, in May and June, aren't going to be going to Universal Studios when it opens. And believe me, it will open. I've heard, and I'm sure everyone else has as well, that unless something goes spectacularly wrong, we will be getting a Universal Studios here in the UK. But it will not change the way that theme parks in the UK operate. It's as simple as that. It just won't. Now, I think our best theme park in the UK at the moment is Portons Park, just down where I am in Hampshire. I think it's a stunning park. I think it's very well kept, and it's attention to detail that does it. Now, I would like to see Portons get as busy as Chesington and Fort Park and still be able to keep that level of detail. I think they could, to be honest with you. I do think they could, but they put so much effort in and have massive pride in what they do. They do that because they have a high ticket price. They don't mug people off with Fast Pass, which I will never agree with. I think one price entry, let people queue is the way forward with it. And people have a good time and they get good reviews back. So yeah, parks can do more, but at the end of the day, I think we're being really unfair when we talk about ride closures and even redundancies as well, that they still have to make money one way or another. Whether you think they're making money the right way or the wrong way is completely irrelevant. They have a business to run. Leave your comments below though. Where am I on this? We want to hear it. Let us know.